So for today, we are going to cover how to amplify your impact through serving more people. And we're going to cover three things. And that is, first of all, the validation trap, because there's this perception that we can get stuck in that impacts our ability to be able to serve. We're also going to cover how we can move from competition and also comparison, and how we can have an inspired service that we focus on, and that be your money making magnet for you. And then I'm going to talk about something which is your untapped power. So stay with us today. We have a very inspiring and informative in-depth question for you today. So if you have any questions, if you have any insights, comment below. We do have a workbook as always for these classes. So if it is something that you also want, please comment in the section just below and comment serve. If you're watching the replay or watching live, say hi now. So welcome to our class. Now, when we have a look at the three ways that are going to help you to amplify your ability to make an impact and serve more people, I want to first discuss with you this idea of a validation trap. And so what that means is some coaches, not everyone, but some, have this need for external validation. It might be subtle, or you may be very much aware of it. And this can show up in needing reassurance from a client or feedback from a client to saying you're doing a great job. There can be a quest for validation and getting the following and people to say amazing how well you are and how great you are. I remember seeing ages ago, there was a particular individual who I went to one of their programs, and at the very end of their program, they stood up in front of the audience and had said, I just wanted to let you know that one of my 5 love languages is words of affirmation. And so everyone was coming up to them and just saying how amazing they were and how great they were, and just like really heightened exaggeration of validation. And so they find themselves in this trap. What happens is we get a dopamine high when someone says you're doing a great job. And when we get that praise and reward, we then want to go and do that same behavior again. And then we find ourselves in this like trap that we do certain behaviors to seek out a accolade or seek out validation or seek out from the outside that you are okay as a coach. Now that might be a heightened example of the speaker that I saw, that in that validation trap, and yours might be more subtle. It might be just making sure that at the end of each session it's like, yeah, you did okay, that was a good job. And so what we want to do is be very aware of the validation trap for us, and are we seeking it? Because if we get stuck in this dependency for external validation, what can happen is burnout. What I'm meaning is, because we try to be validated and we're caring about the opinions of others, and then we start serving people one-on-one and we grow a coaching business, why would you ever think about making a bigger impact and serving more people if that meant that you're actually going to be not doing what you love, kind of seeking that addiction of people saying how great you are, but then having that oscillating, don't like criticism, want praise and approval, and kind of this avoidance seeking dynamic that you have going on, and this self-worth attached to what everyone is saying, and then this crushing when someone says something that is not okay, particularly in the coaching. If someone says you didn't do a great job coaching, it's like soul destroying. It's because we're seeking that external validation. And so what we want to be able to do, because it can ultimately lead us to burnout, you're not going to want to build a business that is dependent on the outside world to tell you how great you are. It's not a long-term strategy for a inspired business, because who's directing the show? Who's directing your business? Your clients are. That you want external validation, so you'll say yes to a client that you don't really feel that connected with. You'll contact them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can feel that resentment building up inside saying, I don't want to do this anymore, or your body goes into burnout because you don't have the ability to say no because you seek the validation from others, and then to have someone disappointed in you by saying no, oh, that hurts. And so that's the validation trap that people can get into. And so then the downside of that is we end up compromising our sense of our true self because we're conforming to the outside world. We're not doing what feels congruent with us because we might have actually lost our voice. I did a post the other day on my Facebook page, which is around we drown out our inner voice, and our inner voice diminishes when our outer world voices dominate. And so what we want to be able to do, if the outer world opinions are governing us, they're going to be the one that's directing our business. And that's not going to come from an inspired state anymore, because you do that for days, weeks, months, and years. You lose your sense of identity. You lose your sense of self in that process. And you get molded into what others want you to be, not who you truly are. And if that reaches a core of something within inside of you, that is what we have our maximum growth classes each and every week, is to really help you to like unlock your potential as a coach, for you to find a strong sense of identity so that you can create an identity-based business that you feel like you go out to the world, but not because of the praise and external validation that you are seeking. It's because you feel missionful within, and that is your driving force. And so we also with I just want to cover one more thing with the validation trap, and it's this confirmation bias. Because if we're seeking validation, so I just want you to imagine your lens of the world, and you're going out and you're seeking validation. And so that's what you want to do when you want to grow your business and you want to serve more people and make a bigger difference. It's because you want to be recognized and you want to have that validation. We then have a confirmation bias. So you're going to go and seek those aspects of your business and people and clients that are going to give you that validation again. And so, but we don't have, it's not a path for growth. It's not a path for growing your skills and what you can learn from the clients that give you feedback, or your own internal feedback, because you're building yourself up to say that I'm so great, I don't really need that internal reflection anymore. And so what we want to be able to do is notice our confirmation bias that we have towards our being validated and seeking that, and start to unpack that and see if we can bring that inward. So rather than it be an external job and looking for something on the outside to tell you how great you are, it's not about you being great. It's just about you doing your mission and what feels inspiring for you. So that is the validation trap. If you've ever been in one, we have a workbook for you, and there's a beautiful question that you can ask yourself inside of the workbook. So if something that you're interested and you're watching the replay, you can find the download inside of Maximum Growth Academy. If you're on Facebook and watching this live, then you just have to comment serve, and we will get that to you. So the next one I want to cover when it comes to you being able to really make a bigger difference and impact and serving more people, it's around serving from a place of inspiration versus comparison and competition. So I had a saying ages ago, and it used to be comparison's a bitch, because it is. Like, as soon as you start comparing yourself to someone else, your focus goes off what you're doing and goes on to someone else. You can also see and hear in someone else's language when they're copying and mimicking someone else, or when they're not really truly being themselves and it's not coming from an authentic place. You can feel that, just like you can walk into a restaurant and you can feel the love in someone's food and the love in their and the inspiration that they have inside of their business. You can feel the same thing inside of a coach as well. And so what happens is, when we get into this comparison and competition, we're outer world directed again. It's like, what is everyone else doing, and comparing yourself to them. But the thing is, you get into a scarcity mindset when this happens. And so that means that you believe that there's limited resources for people, that there's limited opportunities that are available, that you have to compete in the marketplace. And that's the scarcity mindset that drives you, which sends you through like anxiety and stress, and then it's like, how can you ever grow and make a bigger impact? And and have the ability to serve more people if you have a scarcity lens of the world. It's going to be like a fight and flight response just to get there. Yet you, there is no one in the world that has your voids, that has your values, that has your vision. There's no one in the world that has had your experience, that has your expertise, that has your knowledge. No one. And so no one can compete with you. No one. That's why you can have someone who has exactly the same products. Lots of people who are Demartini method facilitators, but no one's competing with you because you have something unique inside of you. And so when we focus on that and we focus on, well, what's our uniqueness, and owning that, that's where your inspiration is going to come. And so that's why in Maximum Growth Academy, we're very big on helping you to create an identity-based business. So that's not trying to make a business that's about who you think you need to be or who you want the marketplace wants you to be, but who you genuinely are. So you show up on social media as who you are, not this like exaggerated version so that you get likes and accolades and recognition, because then that gives you in the trap of the validation trap. I've got to do something bigger and brighter and bigger and more to then get more attention, to get more people to come. And when you set yourself up for that continual, almost like being a performer rather than paid for who you are. If you get to show up to be you every single day, you can have longevity inside of a business and continue to grow and serve more people and make a bigger impact when you do that. But when you get stuck in this performing side, then you get in competition and feel like you need to do something even more spectacular to gain more people, then it sets you up in this vicious cycle. You see, inspiration is your currency. And what I mean by that is, we were talking about it last night in our Maximum Growth Academy class. And so we were asking a question around growing a business and serving. And so as we're asking this with someone who actually they work with horses. And so I was asking them, so what's, how does it serve to grow a business? And then as we kept on digging deep and we're finding more and more and more, we got to this point where he landed on an answer that was so deeply moving. And he said, I don't ever get the tears and open my, he said, he doesn't have those feelings, but he had that feeling. I was like, did that move you? And everyone in it was like, well, that moved me. And he's like, yeah, that's it. And so he landed on something in which that he can now describe the very thing, that how he serves and what he does and the impact that he makes on both individuals and people or horses. And so I won't share what it is because it's his to keep. But what it was he has this level of inspiration now when he shares with people, what do you do? What impact do you make? How do you serve people? And when he says this statement, inspiration oozes out of him. And that's your currency. That's your currency. That's the reason why people come, especially if we live in the mindset world where people are emotional and they've got a lot of dynamics and stresses and emotional charges that they're trying to work through. And then they read something or they see something that they're like, whoa, that's inspirational. I feel inspiration from that. Then they're going to know that that's the end outcome that they can have an experience with you. And so that becomes your currency, your inspiration. So you don't want to be robbed by thinking about other people and the competition and thinking about what everyone else is doing and how they're working and what courses or classes and programs that they're doing. It's like it's an inside job. So it's like, what do you need to do to untap your inspiration to be identity-based and create an identity-based business with inspiration? Because that is going to be your magnet to being able to attract and serve more people. So the very last one that I want to cover with you before we wrap up for our class today is that you have untapped power. And so what I mean by that is that there's a hidden source of power within you waiting for you to unlock. And that is done through delegation. So If you feel inside of you that you have a lot to contribute, you want to go and make a difference and serve more people, there's a difference between saying, well, I can serve 5 people every single week, and you then have to do the admin of that, and you have to do follow-ups, and you have to respond to emails, and you're doing all this admin work for 5 people. And then you think about, okay, well, I'm going to serve 10 people each week. And that's maybe a bit more admin work that you have to do inside of your business. And then you go, okay, well, I'm going to do 20 or 30 or 40 people per week. Now you're stretching, okay, now do that and then do everything else that you need to do in your business, plus have a life. Can you see that your time just gets shrunk, and then you end up doing a lot of things that are not really that inspiring for you? And so if there was a way that you can untap your power by tapping into someone else's power and delegating out those tasks that you feel are important to do and necessary for the moving of your business, but you pay someone else to do it so that you can go and do the things that are powerful within inside of your business, then that's going to help you to serve more people. So it's like you're not an island and you can't do this on your own. You have to have other people who join you in this journey for you to be able to have the space. Because if not, you're going to be bogged down doing the things that are unimportant, uninspiring, and then you become the bottleneck to why you're not growing and serving more people and making a bigger impact, because you're getting in the way. So you may as well leverage the expertise of others. You may as well increase your productivity by getting someone else to come in and do. I know it's a cost factor for a lot of people. It's like, how am I going to afford that? But it depends on what you do with the time when they come in. I know we have a lot of like systems and processes in place inside of Maximum Growth. Every task that someone has to do has a video, it has all the steps that they need to do, and then they're following that. And they're also setting that up for any new task that they also have to complete. And so then it becomes easy to have someone come in because they know what they're doing. So it does take a little bit of time to set up, but then you get to leverage your time. And that's really how you're going to be able to serve more people. So hopefully today has been interesting for you. We have talked about the mind in terms of that trap that we can get into with the validation trap. We've talked about some of the decisions that we can make in terms of not being so focused on competition and comparison with the outside world, and really focus on that inspiration within. And then we've also talked about some of the action steps that you can do in order to profoundly shift your ability to serve, is that awakening and learning the art of delegating so that you can, one, have a life and also have a business. So if this is something been interesting for you, you found some insights, share and comment below. It has been amazing having you here. Thank you for being a part of the community. I hope that you have an inspiring day wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to seeing you at the next perfect time.